afternoon, good evening, good morning. South Africa's election results are out. ANC has failed to win uh, the majority, so it will not be, for the first time since 1995, it will not be able to form a government on its own. It has failed to get 50% plus one of the votes uh, to enable it to form a government on its own. So the party will now be forced to form a coalition government. And the following is the results showing the options the party has. As we can see, ANC has managed to get 40.18% of the vote, with 99.73 of the votes counted. And DA has got 21.82%. MK party, the party that was formed by former ANC President Jacob Zuma, has 14.59% of the vote. And EFF, led by Julius Malema, has got 9.49% of the vote. The option to have a coalition with DA would be considered by many as probably the best, given that both MK and DFF have extreme left views of nationalizing this, nationalizing that, which ANC has resisted this far. MK, led by former President Zuma, I think ANC would have problems working with him because the two parted ways and their relationship has been very bitter, to say the least. So that leaves one other third option for ANC, EFF. And it looks like this is the option that the party has gone for, according to some of the comments on social media and the videos of ANC leaders endorsing that position. President Ramaphosa is on record saying that Julius Malema should come back to ANC. That is his original home. I think it may be for ANC is the lesser of the two evils between EFF and DA. DA has been seen as predominantly a white-led party. And for ANC maybe to associate with DA is a bridge too far, given the relationship between the blacks and the whites in South Africa during apartheid. Personally, I think that the coalition between the ANC and DA probably would have worked better, in the sense that the DA has a lot of competent leaders, and I don't think many would dispute that the DA party track record has shown that they've got the same um, racist attitude that was shown by the apartheid regime, whites. So that would be a good option. But nonetheless, if DA is not incorporated as in the coalition, it will still be the country's official opposition party. And I think as the official opposition party, it will still play a very pivotal role in the next 5 years for the good of South Africa. Because a powerful opposition party is important for a healthy and functioning democracy. If DA was to join ANC into a coalition, that would leave MK as the opposition. And I think MK's credentials, political credentials, are yet to be shown. Will they be able to focus on the real issues and hold the government of the day to account? Because that is the most important task that the opposition party is expected to perform. And in this particular case, probably DA holding the position of the official opposition party would be for the best. Let's just listen to ANC leaders acknowledging that Malema is their best preferred choice.
I feel the ANC has lost in Comrade Julius. The ANC will be better off with him inside the fold. So I'm going to do my best to request him to reconsider coming back home.
When prompted by journalists, the same sentiments from the ANC president.
We would love to have Julius Malema back in the ANC. He is still ANC down deep in his heart. So we would like to have those who are in the EFF back in the ANC, because the ANC is their home.
So in the end, the South African elections are over, and the ANC is acknowledging that they have lost the power to govern on their own and are willing to form a coalition. I think that is a very positive result for South Africa, for the good of South Africa. When you have a party like ANC that had been in power for 30 years and is allowed, if they won a clear majority and were allowed to get back into power, particularly given their performance in the last 30 years, that would have been really bad for South Africa, because it would have established this notion that ANC is the party of government, regardless of how badly the party has performed. So having voted ANC or denied them a clear majority would also be good for ANC itself. If the party has got any vision at all, I think they will now be licking their wounds with a view of saying, okay, the last 30 years have been a complete disaster. We did not perform well. No one can deny that corruption and mismanagement were rampant in the ANC the successive ANC regimes. So, a complete overhaul of the leadership, a complete overhaul of the mentality of the party and the supporters would serve well for ANC. They would be looking now at, if we want to win the clear majority next parliament, we have got to deliver. We have got to show the nation that, yes, we can address the serious problems of gross mismanagement, of rampant corruption, and drag the nation back from the abyss. Because although South Africa is not a failed state, I think it is not, there's no denying that the last 30 years has been a relentless march towards becoming one, towards becoming just another failed African state, just like Zimbabwe in the north. So this election has been historic for South Africa in the sense that it has allowed South Africans to send a clear message that no one has got the divine right to rule, and then that they have got the final say, and if they so desire, they will replace even a political party like ANC with all its history. It is replaceable. It is accountable to the people. And I must congratulate ANC itself for taking the blow on the cheek and accepting the result with grace. Somebody on my social media was talking of what ZANU-PF's reaction would have been. Well, we did see ZANU-PF's reaction to losing elections in 2008. Mnangagwa himself led in the move to stop ZEC declaring the results, and then recounting the 5 million votes or so, and it took him 6 weeks to do so. With the presidential result, where Morgan Tsvangirai's winning votes were whittled down to 47%. That's enough to force a runoff. And then Mnangagwa himself, together with his Joint Operation Command guys, were behind the wanton violence of that year in the runoff. That would have been the ZANU-PF response to being denied absolute majority in power. But the ANC have decided to accept the democratic will of the people. Again, reinforcing the very important fact that South Africa is a healthy and functioning democracy. Those in power at the end of the day accept that they are democratically accountable to the people. And being able to vote somebody out of power is the ultimate expression of the democratic will of the people. I think there's a lot of positive things out of the South African elections. And I believe that South Africa has taken the right turn. And I believe that a lot of good will come out of these elections. And there's a lot of good to take forward. 30 years have been a learning curve for South Africans, but in the end, I think this could become a very important turning point for them, where their democratic institutions have been tested and they've withheld the temptation to be overwhelmed by those in positions of power and authority. In Zimbabwe, I think would have had a totally different result. For Zimbabwe itself, for us Zimbabweans, there is a lot to learn here. There is a lot to digest. And I think in this particular case, the number one lesson is that democracy does work. And we should strive to end our de facto one-party state dictatorship and have a healthy and functioning democracy. We should seriously look back into where we have failed, why we have failed to implement any meaningful democratic reform these last 44 years to stop ZANU-PF breaking the elections. And we should revisit that with even greater emphasis now. And even encouragement, in the sense that a bloody nose delivered to ANC will only serve to help Zimbabweans fight for our democratic right. We cannot deny that the ANC, the last 2 decades at least, has propped up ZANU-PF. It's a subject that I would like to revisit later on there this evening. That will be 10 o'clock UK time and 11 o'clock Zimbabwean time. I think it is an important topic that we should seriously look into. How ANC had, the last 2 decades at least, helped prop up ZANU-PF, and how the demise of ANC, absolute power and control in South Africa, will work to Zimbabwe's advantage. Thank you very much for listening this evening, and I hope you'll be able to join me at 10 o'clock UK time and 11 o'clock Zimbabwean time. Thank you.